Greetings, everybody. This is Winnie Wriggle, and welcome back to Edentech. Today, we're going to have a little fun with some firewater and some more automation of our refined storage system. That's why I'm standing in front of our storage building. So let's take a look at the first steps that I have taken in order for us to start this process. The first one is we need a way to get things automatically into the refined storage system. I'm doing it in this room because we have access to the cables that are part of the system much easier than in the main workshop. So I've taken an Ender chest from Ender Storage and I have color coded it. When you make them, they come with 3 white buttons on top, right? And you can color code those with dye. So if we take some orange dye and we click on the white part, look, it changes color. So I've color coded these to be orange, black, orange. Because Winnie's favorite color is orange. Woo! And so you can link them up. In fact, let's go ahead and make this one linked. I don't know that I have black, but I might have ink, possibly. Yes, I do. Yay! So you can take an ink sac in the middle. So now they're matchy-matchy. So anything that's in this chest will also be in this chest. And I happen to have this chest hooked up to an importer into the refined storage system. So if I take my orange dye and put it in this Ender chest, you can see it appears in this other one. And we can watch the dye come into the refined storage system. So that's the first step, being able to import items from anywhere in our world by using coded Ender chests. So now let's run over to the workshop and I'll show you the project crate that we have for our 2 projects today. Here we are back in our beautiful workshop with our projects. We are going to extend the automated crafting that we have with refined storage. Last episode, we learned how to craft simple things like stairs and planks and sticks, things that only require a crafting table. This episode, we're going to learn how to automate crafting with machines. So for example, in our workshop behind me are the Ender IO machines, the sag mill and the alloy smelter. Wouldn't it be nice if anything we needed to make in the alloy smelter, we could automate with the RS, like electrical steel or redstone conduit, or anything like that. Those things that require that 3-item recipe in the alloy smelter. To do something like that, we would need another alloy smelter. We'll need an importer to come from that alloy smelter to put stuff back in the refined storage system. We'll need cable to hook it up, and we still also need a crafter. And here's some other machines we're going to automate as well. So let's go over to our, first we need recipes, the things we want to automate. So let's go into our pattern grid. Let's open up Ender IO and pick, there we go, some of the recipes we want to automate. So I used electrical steel. It's a great example. If we go look at the recipe in JEI, in an alloy smelter, it requires iron ingots, pulverized coal, and silicon. We have all of these in our storage system. We just need to tell the pattern grid that we want to make something that uses a machine. To do that, we're going to click this processing box. And do you see how it changed our UI to be basically 2 grids? So on the left is the input for the machine, and on the right is the output, the expected output for the machine. The easiest way to do this is to go to the JEI recipe, go to the machine you're trying to automate, and there should now be a Move Items button. So it will automatically drag the iron, the pulverized coal, and the silicon, which gives you electrical steel, so it gives you the recipe, and we're just going to create it on a pattern. All right, and if I hold down Shift, you can see inputs include 1 iron ingot, 1 pulverized coal, and 1 silicon, and the output is an electrical steel ingot. So we want to create one of these for most of these ingots from Ender IO. So let's go get energetic alloy. Let's go get vibrant alloy. Ta-da! Let's get some redstone alloy. And put them on patterns. We're going through these patterns. pretty fast. Oh, dark steel is another one that I use a lot of. Let's do that one. So that's obsidian, pulverized coal, and iron. Very important. Pulsating iron, dark steel, solarium, end steel. We'll come back and do some of these. I think let's just start there with a couple of example patterns so I can show you how this works. So we need to go over to our storage building because that's where we've been putting all of our patterns that are being saved in the refined storage system. So here's all the simple ones, the ones that just require crafting tables, like the quartz enriched iron and stuff from the actual RS, all of our essences from Mystical Agriculture. And now we want to add the machine that these recipes are going to be hooked to, if you will. So I'm going to put the alloy smelter right here. And then we're going to put a cable above it. And then I'm going to put a crafter pointing into it. So I have to get down a little bit and crouch and then click on this. So you can't see that blue eye is pointed down at the machine. You know it's working if you right click on the crafter and it has the name of the machine that is pointed out. So this is alloy smelter. Yay! So we can put all these patterns in here. And now the RS, if we go to craftables only, it shows us that vibrant alloy is craftable. So you can craft it in redstone alloy. That's only one half of the process. So we could craft it, but there'd be no way for it to get back into the RS. So we need to put an importer on the machine that produces the item and then just hook it back in anywhere into the cables in the RS system. And then for Ender IO in particular, we want to make sure that the configuration out the back is set to push. So thermal expansion would be the same thing. Make sure that the side the importer is connected to has it set to push that item back out. So if I go into our craftables and I want redstone alloy, let's make 8. Let's make 8 of them. And I press start. It says, oh, we're missing 8 silicon. That seems bad. How am I missing silicon? Ugh. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Okay, this might be one of those need to tweak the recipe issues. So if we go to the redstone alloy, let's run back to our pattern. Let's run over to our pattern maker and look at redstone alloy. So this is troubleshooting for the recipes. Okay, yeah, so there are 2 different silicons that potentially could be the recipe. The one that we have is tagged as the refined storage silicon. So let's change this recipe. I think we can clear it by shift right clicking. That clears the pattern so we can reuse it. Let's put the recipe in there. And see, it's using the Ender IO silicon. We want to replace that with... Oh, can you do... Oh, we just want to make a custom recipe. Okay, clear. Redstone, silicon gives you... I don't have any alloy to put in the system to make the recipe. Let me go craft one real quick. Okay, now I have a redstone alloy. We can complete the recipe. There we go. So now we're using redstone and the refined storage silicon, which is what's in our RS. So the RS doesn't get confused. So let's put this pattern back in our pattern maker and let's ask the RS to craft some redstone alloy. So let's make, I don't know, 64. We have now the silicon available and the redstone available, and we hit start and we should see this machine light up, and there it goes. So the RS is feeding the materials into it to make 64, and then it's going back out the importer and into the RS system so we can see the number going up of the redstone alloy ingot. And that's how you set up machine automation with your refined storage system. Let me add a couple of more machines and then we'll come back and hook them up to the power grid. So I have added our sag mill, pulverizer, and redstone furnace. They all have crafters on top of them, and you can tell they're hooked up because each crafter has taken on the name of the machine that it's hooked up to. They're all connected to the RS. They each have an importer into their back, and let's set up their importing to push out the back. And orange is out. Orange is out. We don't want you to do anything on the sides, thanks. And this one needs a capacitor. So let's make a quick octatic for it. Bloop. So that when we give it power, it'll take power. So now I have added a Wyvern wireless energy crystal. It is connected to another crystal relayed out the front of the building, which I'll show you here. It's up in the corner, and that's connected to our power grid, remember? And so now we need to connect our machines up to the crystal that I have down here so that they have power. So we'll shift right click to create the original connection and then say power, 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 power. Ta-da! And that is our completed automation setup, at least for a subset of the machines. I'll add the patterns off camera, and now it's time to move on to the next steps. So in the process of me thinking about automating machines and crafting, I realized that one of the items we do not have access to in an automated fashion is one of the key base elements for the Ender IO mod, and that is Grains of Infinity. So if you recall, in order to make Grains of Infinity, you actually need to go down to bedrock and set a piece of bedrock on fire. That's the way we've been doing it so far. There is an optional recipe. You can also set down a bucket of fire water on top of bedrock, and there is a small % chance of getting Grains of Infinity. We are going to automate that process and have some fire water automatically generate some Grains of Infinity and automatically put them into the RS for ourselves. The first thing we need to do, though, is make a vat so that we can make some fire water. So if we look at the recipe for fire water, you use a vat from Ender IO, and you need hooch, blaze powder, and redstone. Okay, well, the blaze powder and redstone are pretty easy, but hooch, where does that come from? You also need a vat to make hooch. You just need water, some kind of seeds or food item, and some kind of sweet item like sugar. So we are going to use seeds and sugar, and we're going to make some fire water. First thing we need to do, gather our materials here out of the crate, and then we're going to make 2 vats. And I believe I have already put all the pre-crafted items for us to make vats in the Ender IO. And let's do it this way. If you have troubles finding an item in JEI when it gets huge, you can always put the name of the mod first with an @ symbol to filter your search, and then put the name of the item so we can find the vat. So they're not that difficult. A couple of industrial machine chassis, a couple of fluid tanks, and those fluid tanks are pretty cheap. They're just iron bars, glass, and iron ingots. Furnace, cauldron, and some dark steel ingots, which we have. Oh, except I don't have fluid tanks. Apparently I've used them for other things, so let's use them. Make some fluid tanks. 1 vat, 2 vats. Okay. I can't help it. I'm a Sesame Street kid. Yep. Okay. And I think we have enough room to do this right here. So we're going to put our sink as our water source because it's my favorite water source right now. And only one of our vats is going to need it. So let's actually move it over here. And I actually have 2 different kinds of fluid ducts for this. A plain one, just the regular cheap one from Thermodynamics for the water. But I made a hardened fluid duct for the actual hooch and fire water because they have higher temperatures. So let's just use the plain fluid duct and probably a servo to get the water out of there. Yep. So we'll put one vat over here. And it should be getting water. Yes. Oh, and we need some of these. Capacitor. That's pretty easy. This is why we need grains of infinity. I think 16 will make us 2 big ones. That 1, 2, 3, 4. We want some octadics because they're super fast and awesome. If I go in here and put a little octadic in there, and we need power. Good thing. Whoop. Connect to the power. Ta-da. Okay, that one has power and water. And we're going to give it seeds and sugar. And it should start making hooch. And this might take a while. We just need, we're going to need 3 buckets of fire water. So, oh, it's going to give us 500 milliliters. So that's a half a bucket. That's great. This should be pretty fast. So we'll go ahead and set up the other half of this while we're here. Also, you might notice my pick looks weird. It's my Silk Touch pick because I was picking up ender chests. So I didn't want to break them. And that lives in my backpack usually for special occasions. Okay, so let's put this back down and put our vat over here. Oh, I guess we can put 2 of them because you don't need water. Put our other vat right next door. And I think we can tell this one to send the hooch that way. Yes? Haha, yes. And let's put an octadic capacitor in there. And let's hook this one up to the power as well. Bloop. Okay, let's take that out of our inventory because those lines are really distracting. So we have power and hooch. And we need to add blaze rods and redstone. I'm sorry, blaze powder and redstone. And now we should be getting fire water in our output tank. There's a whole bucket of fire water. Yeah. Okay, I'm actually gonna put this in a portable tank, and I think I can tell it to push up. Yep, there we go. Hooch going into the tank. So as soon as we've produced a couple of buckets, we'll take our portable tank down to bedrock and we'll set up automation for making grains of infinity. Just a note that the grains of infinity production only happens in the overworld. You cannot do it in your mining worlds. So we're actually just going to run down here right under the base in our original mining tunnel. And we should just go right around the corner. I've already dug out this room in preparation. So the grains of infinity being produced from fire water is a very low chance. I think it's something like 2%. So I wanted to put down 3 buckets of fire water in these 3 places. So the 2 corners and then the one in the middle. And then we're going to automate the collection of that using the item collector from Cyclic along with some item conduits and our color-coded ender chest so that we can automatically get the grains of infinity being put into our refined storage system. So first, I'm going to take our 3 buckets of fire water and put them here. And here. And you can make this any size you want. I just made it this size because it kept it clear of the network receiver. So we have access to the RS down here. I added a network receiver with a cable and a wireless transmitter. And that transmitter also has range upgrades because it's 60 blocks above us to the base. And so you can already see that the fire water on the bedrock is producing grains of infinity. Very cool. Now let's collect them. We're going to use the item collector from Cyclic. You can also use the ranged collector from Actually Additions, but it only does a 6 block radius, whereas this one will collect in a 15 by 15 area, which is about the size of this room. And I'll show you, I'll turn on the preview so you can see all those purple blocks are where it can collect, so it completely covers. I'm stuck. Oh, it almost covers. Let's do it one bigger. 17 by 17. There we go. So it completely covers the room And it does it in front of the machine. So notice there's no purple back here. It's just the direction the machine faces. So from here, we want to hook this up to an ender chest. Let me turn that off. So we're just going to use a plain item cable from Ender.io, our color-coded ender chest, and we're going to make this connection and extract, always active, on a green channel, and this one's going to be insert, always active, also on green. So we should see it's picking them up in the item collector and putting them in the ender chest, and they should be appearing in our refined storage system. I love it when something works. Yay! I think that does it for today's episode. It's probably a little bit shorter than normal, but I think we did a great job making progress on automation. Both one of the basic crafting ingredients from Ender.io with automating grains of infinity down here at Bedrock, as well as learning how to automate some of our more complicated machines using the refined storage system. Thanks everybody for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you'd like to keep up with what's going on the channel, don't hesitate to subscribe. And remember, as always, you are the shiny stuff that awesome is made of. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.